Like I,
Why sick?
it moved. The giant fairy bug just moved.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I have yet to come across any kangaroo, koalas, any of the varieties, so wallaroos or any of those. But I have lots of weird, dangerous bugs. In South
Any snakes or
Australia.
anything?
Not yet, no. But you know what's crazy? Because I would think if you live in an area where you have that kind of danger, you wear shoes,
Yeah.
but
People don't.
it's not the same.
They're just living.
Same. Yeah, they're like, well, if it
It's
gets
just
me,
like, oh god.
so that's been anyway. So, hey everybody, welcome to VM
thank you.
Live. My name is Jack Rollins. I'm your host of the show, and with me, as always, man, myth, legend, good friend, traveler, founder of VM, and now a brand new hoodie wearer. That's a new
I got a
hoodie.
new one. I got a new one.
So
Lights
he
looking
no
up.
longer perfectly blends in this
Nah.
background. Mr. Jeffrey Hoffman.
Hi guys. Happy Friday or Saturday, as it may be.
It's Saturday morning for me.
Yeah.
And we also have Admin Bob, who's found the power of Ethernet. I think we upgraded his internet.
Direct connect right to the internet.
Yeah, he finally ran out of his.
Isn't too bad.
Yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully,
We'll find out that your laughter is poorly timed. Like, oh yeah, no,
Yep.
that's not good.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you finally ran out of your free AOL 100 or 1,000 hours, so we upgraded you to.
Yeah.
The kids nowadays will never understand that sound.
Oh my
The
gosh.
worst was when it didn't work. And you had
Or
to
somebody
go
picked up the
through a lot.
phone.
Oh,
and
right
then
when
you
it
lost your
connected to
connection.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, hey Bob. I started to announce you, but didn't actually
Put down
say
the
your
phone.
name. So Admin Bob is here. So we have a little bit of a delay, but it's not as bad as usual, which is good. So one of the things I had noticed a lot, there's been a lot of discussion about it on the server, which is great because it's people talking about things that are outside of just what they're going through personally or whatever. And I've seen it all over social media, different people's perspectives on the situation in Ukraine right now. And we didn't joke about the situation last week, but we kind of joked because you hear the US is doing all these things and the UK is doing all these things, and then Australia was like, yeah, we're here too. We're
You guys were named on the unfriend. Like I think he unfriended you guys though too.
Oh, he unfriended us. Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not Australian.
Oh, okay,
yet.
okay.
But
right.
yeah,
Well, that cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
He unfollowed. He unfollowed
Yeah.
Australia on Instagram.
It's serious. I mean, he's got a lot of influence.
But it's people have been talking about it obviously a lot, and one of the things I noticed online on like Facebook a lot more than any of the other sites, you get a lot of people complaining about the gas prices because they've just gone through the roof, and then you get people complaining about the gas prices, saying well, there's a war going on and you're complaining about gas prices. And for some reason that rubbed me the wrong way, and then I felt really bad that rubbed me the wrong way because they're right. I mean, there are obviously a heck of a lot worse things going on in the Ukraine right now than having to pay more money for gas. But I think that kind of goes like in line with that concept of somebody, there's always somebody who has it worse, that kind of mentality. And, first of all, some of the people complaining about gas prices, that may now take you out of being able to travel to work and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, it's not just us complaining that now it's more of a dent. There are a lot of people that are living less than paycheck to paycheck right now. So it can be a lot more devastating, than the jokes that we kind of see on Facebook for a lot of people. Uh, but I have a hard time with that whole somebody out there always has it worse
Mm,
mentality,
mm.
because I
Yeah.
think it kind of promotes not being able to accept your situation, or not being able to kind of be sad or upset. It kind of negates or invalidates your feelings and experiences. It's like if you
Yeah.
break your
Yeah.
finger and you say that this hurts, you're like, well, there are people out there that have had to get their legs cut off. And it's like, I know,
Be
but
like,
like
"Oh,
this still
okay." Yeah.
hurts. you know?
Right. No, it's
Um,
invalidating for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I wanted to kind of get your guys' view. Like, am I crazy for kind of siding with the gas people more than the people that are just, in my opinion, purposely trying to make you feel bad? When you write a comment like that, for one, I don't think it's genuine. I think it's just there to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
But
I was talking to my daughter
Well,
about
I
this
think it
today because, go ahead, Bob.
I was gonna say, I think it depends on, we'll say, group of people, because I think in each category.
mhm,
So in the category of people complaining about the gas price, you have people who are seriously price of gas and
mhm,
fill up the gas pumps. So it
mhm,
is a serious issue for them. You have people
mhm,
who are being sarcastic assholes and like,
Hmm.
the price has gone up. I hate it. And they're just complaining because they're thing to do within whatever financial stratosphere they're in. Does it truly impact them? Not really. So I
mhm,
think it depends which group you're looking at. Um,
mhm,
and I understand what you're saying, Jack, and like your opinion is completely valid, of course. Lean more to the people that are like, hey, look at what's going on in the Ukraine, but not to people that are seriously facing issues at the gas pump. Because I am. I mean,
mhm,
it's a half-hour drive for me to, so the price of does
mhm,
affect me. Um, so even in my own world, the price of gas, but I'm also able to look at what's halfway around the world and be like, okay, yes, it's impacting me, but there's also people dying halfway around the world.
mhm,
I can do, can I donate charity to help them?
mhm. Okay, Jeff, you were gonna say something?
Well, as you were talking, Bob, I was thinking that I think I lean more towards, what you said, Jack, about people complaining about gas, or whatever, like on the one-upsmanship.
Mhm,
What's interesting about it is it's not like well, I shouldn't say, it's not like somebody's getting on TikTok from the Ukraine saying, "Oh, you're complaining about gas prices, but I'm in the middle of a war." It's a third party saying, "Well, it'd be like if you complained about something, Jack, and I said, yeah, but Bob has it worse." Like, but what business of it
yeah,
is mine
okay,
to discount? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it, because it is invalidating.
mhm,
Oh, that's what I was saying before, that when I was talking with my daughter today, that I wish for nothing more than that to end, and for these people to be at peace and not be in that situation.
mhm,
And at the same time, there's only so much I can control. Like, I think it was on NPR I was listening earlier, and there was a study, I don't know the source of it, admittedly, but where people who checked the news a lot after 9/11 were a lot more likely to get sick, physically, just because
mhm,
of their stress. And so there
yeah,
is a stress that it does add to your life.
mhm,
And I do think there's value in obviously being aware of it, because it's a reminder that we do have it good. We're
mhm,
better than some,
mhm,
and worse than some in some respects. Um, but I don't think that it's really adding anything to the conversation to say somebody has it worse. I don't think that helps anything.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I like Bob's kind of balanced approach to it. Funny enough, about the gas itself, is in Australia, it's liters, and they have different we're still the states are still less expensive, at least the majority of them, than a lot of
Yeah.
other countries. And so I was trying to figure out, I'm standing at the pump and I'm like converting liters and then converting Australian dollars. I'm like, I have no idea,
Yeah.
no idea what I'm paying right
Right.
now. Like it could be
And
$25. I have no idea.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It is expensive, like, in so many
mhm,
other countries. I mean,
yeah.
in the UK, it's like $7 or $8 a gallon if you were to convert it all, I think.
Hmm.
It's like and they're used to that. They're like, "Yeah, suck it up."
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
also, like Australia is similar to the States and the fact that there are, it's just how big it is,
Mm.
and that there are cities and gaps between the cities. Um, but some places, like England, I went through all through Europe, and you took public transportation everywhere, and it was dirt cheap, and you didn't,
Yeah.
outside of a few things, you really could almost live your entire life without ever having, kind of like New York. There are a lot of New Yorkers who
Mhm.
don't drive, and you didn't have to fill up the pump, to drive or fill up your, get tank to drive to your grandma's house. That was four and
Yeah.
a half 5 hours away, because if you did that like in England, you'd be like a country and a half over. uh that
Mm.
concept, I have a couple of friends from England and a couple clients, and that concept, that I'm like, yeah, if you go from, and Ohio is not a big state. It's in the middle, probably
Mm.
closer to smaller, but you could go from one corner to the other corner of Ohio in, 5, 6 hours. And that just blows them away that, they're in another country or in the water, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we have states that are so big and boring that they're called flyover states, because when you drive through them, it's just cornfields for days. I mean, literally days.
Mm.
So yeah, while a lot of the places that it is higher, there's also other avenues that we just, like, I don't know how it is specifically where you guys are at, but I don't think there are any buses near me. There's definitely not a
It's not very
tram or
good.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there
Um
are buses, but, it's just nothing like Europe. Nothing
yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah, no, nothing like
But
Europe.
yeah, so I've seen a lot of that lately. I've seen a lot of the complaining, and I just scroll by those. I've seen a lot where they'll sit there and they'll say it's Biden's fault. And we're not
Mm.
going to get super political or anything like that, but I find that interesting as well, that there's this humanitarian crisis going on, and there are people dying, there are people, getting ran out of their homes. Um I read something that said that the two biggest places people were leaving the Ukraine to go to, Poland, and then Russia. Which
Hmm.
is, you think is like insane, but then again, Russia's not going to bomb themselves, so if you can sneak through, um,
Yeah.
but to see people turn that into a political thing, is also,
Yeah.
to me, maddening. And being here, I think I mentioned this last week a little bit, being so far removed from everything. On one hand, I feel terrible, that
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
not as aware of everything that's going on and not in the debates and in the discussions and that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, it's, my mental health has been a lot better. I know that there's stuff going on, and I know that we're looking into ways to help and that kind of stuff, and trying to
Mhm.
research it to make sure that we're sending our money to where it actually should go, versus some organization, not that we would donate to breast cancer awareness during a war in Ukraine, but like,
Mhm. Mhm.
Susan G. Komen is like famous for not actually sending the majority of their money to help anyone,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and we don't want to do that. But the day to day stuff, I'm not hearing. I get the apps, I have that, news apps and stuff, so I'll get,
Mhm.
when they took Chernobyl and that kind of stuff,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
which was just crazy. Uh,
Yeah.
Well, I think
but I've
you being in a different country, being around people probably gives you a different perspective on what's going on, along
mhm.
with what you see in these apps and on Facebook because I know, at least
Mhm.
not to get political, but for a brief minute, Trump was in office, and I would see
Mhm.
on Facebook, "Oh, we're respected around the world." I'm like, "No, I got relatives in New Zealand, I got relatives in Germany, I got relatives in England, and
Mm.
they all tell me that they're laughing at us." I mean, that's 3 different countries
Yeah.
saying that they are
Mhm.
laughing at us when president.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I met in person this last couple of days and spent some time with my partner's dad, and that went really well. I was nervous, even though I had talking to him a ton before then. But we were all sitting around the dinner table one night, and she and her dad asked me, like when the insurrection happened, like what were you thinking? Like like and I remember that, and
Yeah, that was wild.
I was so embarrassed. They
Mhm.
had said
yeah.
that they're not as patriotic, so they would have looked at those people and just kind of laughed at them and called them idiots and been done with it. But I was sitting there like, I we had kind of, I think at that point we thought that the borders were going to be opening pretty soon and that kind of stuff. So it was like, oh great, so I'm going to go over there and her family's going to think that this is what I come from, like these
Yeah,
are
we're
the
all like
people
that,
that
yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
And I remember that I was so, because she messaged me and she was like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, that was a crazy
um
day.
but one thing that she's been doing here, and it's been really nice to try to kind of protect the kids a little bit from it, is limiting their exposure to it with watching
Mhm.
the news. The news is on in the morning, and that's it. And there's also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's been really bad floods um, in Australia.
No.
Yeah, really bad. And so they get a little bit of that, and then they get a little bit of the war news. But she's concerned that between that and COVID and the stuff that
Oh,
they've been through,
yeah.
like it's just all really dark stuff. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, the morning news you could, but then after that, we're not. Jeff, you had mentioned that you tend to find yourself checking the news a ton, like
No,
you kind of get
yeah.
addicted to it. So she's really preventing that, which has helped me too because I'm not,
Mhm.
and it's weird because on one hand I'm happy that I'm not because I'm in a happier place, but on the other
Yeah.
hand, I feel kind of bad because I don't know all the stuff
Yeah,
that's going
yeah,
on. Do I need to? Do we need to know down to the second the
right.
specifics
It's
of
kind of
what's going on?
addicting.
Yeah.
It's kind of, there's a fear, I don't know, you get this whatever kind of rush, you get there's a checking it feels like you have some artificial sense of being able to control it or just being aware of, but at some point it just I do think that over the last couple of weeks it's definitely had an impact on me.
Hmm.
Because I'll check different news sources, ones that I don't typically check. So I'm like, oh, what else is going on? What am I missing?
Hmm.
Um, and it's terrible. It's just terrible. But there's only so much I can do, which sounds dismissive, but it's more protective of how I'm doing, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's dismissive, I guess, and if you were able to do something about it besides donate some money or whatever, but
Yeah.
like what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? You're not gonna sit there and strap up and be like, time to take Putin down. Like you're
Yeah.
not you literally can't, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean it's a war. What can you besides, find a way to, provide some sort of relief, which you've done. You
Mhm.
are limited, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you can fly there, and what are you
Mhm.
gonna do? Fly somewhere else, take a bus, take a train, like you have the right to have a life,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's a weird feeling because there's always something going on.
Well, that's uh, when I was talking with my daughter earlier, that's what I was thinking of is when my other daughter was going through stuff,
Mhm,
um I I wouldn't wish that on anybody, and it's not like I was sitting there going, "Oh, I wish everybody would pay attention to what I'm going through." But no,
mhm,
just appreciate what you have and just
Mhm.
and celebrate that while I'm going through this thing. Not that
Mhm.
it's the same, but
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Okay, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. 2 minutes.
I was watching it.
I know you are.
Got it
You
pulled
Yeah,
were
up.
like
me
cut
too.
cut your daughter conversation off. Um, I'm checking now. It looks like we're live.
Pop up on my phone for Facebook Live.
Mm.
27 degrees tomorrow, man. Not Celsius.
Oh,
Uh,
it's 80 right now.
I 10 degrees
1
around
minute.
noon for the parade with the wind chill.
Yeah, no way. I'm not doing that, man. No, thank you.
You're not gonna go sit out in the parade?
Nope.
Have a
Parades are
green
just
beer.
like, why?
At home. I avoid the
I
cold at
never,
all
I
costs, man.
Wait, I'm
never understood that.
tomorrow's my daughter's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah? How old's she
Oh,
turning?
happy birthday.
19.
Is she 20? 19.
No, she'll be 19 tomorrow.
19, man.
I can go out for a beer.
It was nice.
20 seconds.
2 more weeks and I can go out with my daughter for a beer. That sounded weird.
10 seconds.
Yeah, gotta fit chickens.
I don't know how I'm supposed to come in from that.
Yeah.
Hey
As
guys.
the words left my mouth, I was like, "This sounds really bad."
In the edited version, no one's gonna know what you said. I'm just gonna
Nope.
leave it out in the
We're just
open.
gonna leave it out there.
Raw
You know what?
dog it, as you like.
Yeah,
to
Indeed.
yeah. As my one daughter said, we're just raw dogging life, man.
Okay.
Or as she says, with this nice weather, she says, "Yeah, Mother Nature's edging us."
I'm
Like,
gonna mark that as a
gotta-
clip. That'll go on TikTok.
yeah.
No context behind it either. Just
No kind. Yeah.
just Jeff. So speaking of family, the topic for today's show is can family mess with your mental health? Jeff, I think you had something you wanted to.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good show. See you guys tomorrow. Yeah.
Short answer, yeah.
Long answer, yes, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, families are humans. Like,
Yeah.
there's we get used to it. It's what we grow up with. We don't know anything different,
Mhm.
And I don't know if somebody doesn't know how to handle their emotions, or they're all
Mhm.
dealing with some previous trauma, or yeah, absolutely, family can.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is a strong yes.
Yeah. I growing up, you don't realize it. I think that's one of the things that kind of changes you into from being an adolescent to an adult is kind of seeing your parents, especially, for who they are as human beings with their faults and all that, and kind of accepting. Now, this is with like a non-abusive, childhood or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
because that's a whole different, thing. But like to see, oh, okay, so my mom's not really good at this specific thing. Like that doesn't, they it's kind of like they go from being gods to humans, and I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
part of the transition that happens. But one thing I noticed, especially when it came to like my family and helping with mental health and stuff, because it was the first time I really started trying to pay attention to my mental health, was when I had gotten divorced and started to go through that process. And I had family members that were incredibly supportive, and would be there. My mom was so sweet, and she would listen to me and let me just say stuff, and my brother, as much as he can be, he was awesome, very like go out for a beer and talk about it. My older sister was pretty good. My younger sister, like within 2 days of me kind of moving back, she had gone through a breakup or something, started telling me, like asking me to help her with her stuff. And I was like, are you shitting me? Like I'm
Mm,
trying to like hello,
yeah.
and that struck me, was that kind of, it would be like if somebody died and then somebody's like, yeah, so and so's sick and it's depressing me. It's like, well, I'm kind of dealing with
Yeah.
this stuff over here. I'm not,
Right.
I don't have the mental capacity to, hold your hand right now. Um, but I think besides that kind of quirkiness, I think my family was pretty good, of letting me feel the way I feel and kind of keeping their opinions, because I'm sure they had different opinions about what was going on. But they did a pretty good job of kind of keeping their opinions to themselves,
Hmm.
not necessarily telling me what I need to do, or telling me, I guess more importantly, from a mental health standpoint, how I should feel.
Mm, mhm.
And I know people, and we all know people, who have been told, how they're
Oh,
supposed to feel and how they're
you should be
supposed to.
happy.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
finally over. Why do
Oh
you
my
why
God.
do
But
you
now, but
still
yeah.
care about this person? They did
Yeah.
this to you, and
Oh, yeah. Mm,
in small increments, those things aren't that bad. But I think family gets away with saying a lot more of that kind of crap than they should. You know.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So what about you guys? Yeah. So my family's not too bad actually.
At least speaking to the divorce situation, I was the first one of my siblings to go through divorce.
Hmm.
And I think people just didn't know what to say.
Hmm.
And even depression, which is I think is more maybe not everybody's divorced, maybe not, I don't know, whatever the statistics are, but um people just don't know what to say. And so if they're not, it takes a lot to have somebody that is willing to do what you said, Jack, just let you talk.
Hmm.
And it's a skill that I think growing up, you think people are born with it. You think that what the support you receive is what you should be getting.
Hmm.
And then you meet somebody who is a really good listener, or somebody who doesn't try to fix your problems or doesn't dismiss your stuff. And you're like,
Hmm.
yeah, you're getting divorced, but look at it this way. Like, fuck off. It
Yeah.
sucks. Like I'm depressed, and like uh telling me to go for a walk is it's not going to fix it.
Just
Like,
walk it off, Jeff. Just walk it
yeah,
off.
just kind of like,
No
Have you
problem.
thought about doing this?" Oh God, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
It's misunderstood. So I don't know if that answers your question about family,
I don't
but
know.
yeah.
What about with you specifically? You took a stand in a way when you created VM,
Hmm.
and you've never hidden it. You've always been the more or less the face of it. Um, how did your family react to that? Because not only are you saying, I have some stuff I need to work on, as
Hmm.
regarding my mental health, but I've noticed that this is like a big problem, and devoting, a fair amount of your life, you know, doing this. How did they kind of react to that?
um so like any family, there's stuff in the history that
Mhm.
that I don't really talk about on the show because it's kind of private. But
Mhm.
um in general, the support that I've gotten from family has been, wow, that's a really good thing that you're doing.
Mhm.
It's just, it feels like it's from an arm's length. That's a great thing, and there's general support. Like
Mhm.
that's really great. And at the same time, I've had some family members come forward as a result of this that privately, they'll text me. I haven't heard from them in a long time, or I'll see them like at the wedding I went to last fall. They'll pull me to the side and be like, "Dude, like that's really like, can we talk? Because I've got some stuff going on and I want to talk about some stuff." And I would say that the response I've gotten from family is pretty much equal or balanced to what I've gotten from other people in my life, friends, or even people that I've known professionally that know about this. Because like for example, actually, one of the social workers that worked with my daughter during her difficult time, she was awesome. We talk about like, oh my gosh, remember she was so great. So the other day, this week, I texted her, and I said, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm so and so's dad, and I just want you to know that you made such a great impact on our life, and we talk about you all the time. And she's like, oh, I know, I follow all your stuff on social media. So it was that's kind of the same response I've gotten from family, where they follow what I'm up to. And but it is interesting because I went for that wedding that I went to, I interacted with a family that I haven't seen in a while. And it's like when you go back into a situation, you get to see a little bit more clearly some of the things you didn't see so clearly when you were younger. And nothing terrible, but things that as an adult, they made me uncomfortable. And
so Uncle Mike wasn't fun. Uncle Mike had a drinking problem, and you finally realized it.
Yeah, Uncle Mike is actually my dad. That's what I make. But
I'm gonna get an angry text message.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, those behaviors that I think I've when I saw that person, I was like, oh, that's what he did. Oh my God, that's what he's been doing the whole time. And I just noticed it. Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And it's only the my relationship with my family has changed over the last few years. And I think having that, like, as we all, it changes as you get older, having that distance and seeing it now, it makes me realize that after going through therapy and having some good people in my life that showed me good ways of communicating and empathizing and supporting, kind of some of the stuff that I was missing in some dimensions. So
yeah. What about you, Bob?
Well, I would say, again, short answer, yes, has impact. For it's effective because I've learned a lot over the last years being part of Visible Man with regards to mental health. I look back and I realize there were so many things I went through in the moment, and even 3 years later, I didn't look at that. Oh, this is a mental health. I was just like, oh, through it's like, this sucks. I hate this. And it was affecting me. But again, I never looked at it like, oh, it's affecting my mental health. I was just like, oh. And then I never heard the term back then, mental health. I thought probably like, I don't know, general majority of the general population. I thought that's somebody that has like a major issue. That's not me dealing with X, Y, my ex or from my sister. Yeah, with regards to what I went through, in particular with my sister, she and I were really, really close. And then I started with my ex. For whatever reason, my sister just didn't like her. And, my ex and I went through counseling. Things were kind of good for a while. And when we got back to, because my sister on me, she cut me off from my two nieces. So, like mentally, there was a lot of trauma there for me because I was a big part of these kids' lives. I had pictures, going to the zoo, baseball games with them, t-ball, softball, and all of a sudden couldn't see them, couldn't talk to them. No, it was probably that way for, and kids grow up fast. So it was probably that way for 4 years, but that was, all of a sudden they're 10 and now they're 14, you know? So,
Mhm.
um,
Mm.
that was quite impactful and challenging for me at the time, and things with my sister, and I know you guys are kind of familiar because I've, you know, typed about it in the server. Things with her just
Mhm.
haven't gotten better over the years because issues with my parents passed away and trying to be controlling with so and that has all impacted my mental.
Mhm.
She took charge of everything, being, a healthcare proxy for my parents, being for both my parents. Only
Mm.
discussion she won. Even though like I privately talked to my dad and he'd be like, "Yeah, we gotta have a family meeting," and then I would,
Mm.
call her like 2 days later, "A family meeting." Change his mind. Blah, blah, blah. She would always run interference and not to do it. And oh yeah, in a different way from like what Jeff has mentioned. Best, oh yeah, you know, you grow up with used to certain behaviors of your family. Um, but in this case, things kind of went from one extreme to the other because her and I were really
Mhm.
close, kind of like a sister relationship growing up and even into my 20s, and then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
boom! It was like day things just changed. Although I'd seen it in her because she
Mhm.
had a best friend. Her best friend got. She turned her back on her best friend because she didn't like the guy. So I'd seen that be in her. I guess I just wasn't expecting that it would happen because I'm family, you know.
Right.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
it's it's definitely it's had an impact on you because of things that happened over the years with her. And she's like, oh, you know, I, no, you can't say that. You can't say hate. Don't. I know you don't like her.
Mhm.
I always try to walk that fine line there. I'm like, no, don't. I mean, don't like her. I said, I don't really like.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely challenging with family.
Yeah. Yeah. I my older sister and my ex uh didn't get along towards, well, about the halfway point. Um and I besides dealing with, you talking about that, besides dealing with the stuff that was going on with my ex at the time, I did feel kind of cut off from my family. That was a relationship with my older sister that I had to kind of rebuild, and she
Mm.
was pretty cool about it and understanding and all that. So there wasn't, but there was, yeah, there was a little bit of a rebuilding that had to happen with her. And not being able to communicate, or feeling like I was able to communicate with them, was, that affected me a lot. You know, I felt like I missed out on a, because before this, I was pretty active in my niece and nephew's lives, um, going to the baseball games, and I
Mhm.
helped coach at one of the t-ball teams once. Um, and yeah, that did feel, not having that access anymore. And then for me, like looking at like my little sister who deals with a lot, um maybe we can touch on this after the break, but there's a point where you had kind of said, Bob, because you're family, that you're always
Mm.
gonna,
Mhm.
but is there a point where you have to stop something and say, well, it doesn't matter that we're family? And this kind of goes into what we were talking about in the first segment. There's a point where you should have the right to live your life, and do what you want to do, and how much, where's that line between responsibility to family
Mm.
members and those who are potentially damaging, your mental health, or really anything. Where's that line between, being responsible because they're family members, and also protecting yourself, in whatever way. So maybe we can talk
Yeah.
about that when we get back from the break.
Sounds good.
2 minutes.
Yeah, I can definitely pitch in
Okay,
on
Bob
that
is
because delay.
yeah.
A little bit.
It's probably like 8 seconds. So like we've been trying to, yeah, we can see that you're starting to talk. We like try to, what are you doing, Jeff?
I don't know.
You coming back from the break like that?
Darth Vader.
Mhm.
Oh, Luke. Talk about issues. Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
I'm sure
But
all the
I
people
can
on
I can
Facebook and
chime in on
Twitch and
because of again with my sister did.
cool.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know how long the delay was, but I was trying to like catch open to start talking and not like trying to talk over it.
hmm Yeah, no, it's been pretty good once we started to get into it. It's not bad. 1 minute. Oh, I got to do the
Seconds because
announcements.
I'm on a delay.
Yeah.
I should probably pull up the announcements, shouldn't I? "30 seconds." "10 seconds." And we're back. Got a couple announcements here real quick. The LGBTQIA section will hold its next monthly voice chat on Tuesday, March 15th at 7:30 p.m. VM holds weekly voice chat hangouts on Mondays at 7 p.m. It's a great way for men to connect on something other than via text. The gamer section holds weekly hangouts on Fridays at 9 p.m. right after VM Live. Come hang out, play video games, stream, and or talk about video games with your fellow VM gamers. We have a couple of live talks here coming up around the corner, and we'll have more information on them when they get scheduled. And as a reminder, all times are Eastern, and all events take place on the Visible Man Discord server. The link for that is in the show notes, or if you're watching this on the YouTube and any of those things, once it's been produced, right, I don't know, here somewhere, I think. We'll find out. Yeah. That's one thing I haven't really started to implement yet, is you'll see people on the YouTube videos. Oh, by the way, smash that like button and all that crap. They'll point, where the link's gonna be, and I just haven't haven't figured that out yet. I don't know where I want to point. So one of my partner's kids has a YouTube channel, and it's just his gaming. And he's got a pretty inexpensive computer, so he can't do, like when I'm producing everything, it's 4 people, 5 people sometimes, and all the audio and stuff. So like a little bit bigger rig. He can't do that, and so he doesn't even do video. He just like screenshots the games, and I think it's Roblox. And then he records like a voiceover afterwards while he's watching the video. It's just real simple, fade in, fade out. And it's funny because he's got like the professional YouTube opening. That what you see where it's like gamer, like it comes in all crazy.
That's cool.
Dude's got like so many more followers than us. It's just so many. And it's just him running around. I think he's playing Roblox for the most part. And I mean, he's just talking, and I'm just like, oh. Now, he's been doing it longer, and he does a couple of videos a week, but it was really hard. Like, we were watching stuff on the TV, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, he's got a couple thousand views. I'm like, oh. Per video. I'm like, Don't be jealous of the child. Don't be jealous of the
Yeah.
child.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations. What do
like
you do? Yeah.
don't say
Maybe we should
anything
just start
snarky.
doing that.
Good
We should
job,
just
kids.
totally switch genres.
Somebody
Yeah.
suggested that we do that on Twitch, like
What's that?
play video
Oh, just play
games and
while we
then
time. Yeah.
slide into discussions on mental health. And while I think there's potential in that, um, trying to get a couple of the guys to sync up to play video games and then be able to do both those things at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless we were playing something. And now what we could do is we could just like play something super simple and see if that worked. Like have us all play like Hangman or like checkers or something like that. While so that's just in the background. You just see that the checkers piece is going.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like, yeah. That'd be more my style because I wouldn't know what the hell I'm doing with some of these
Pong,
games.
just
Yeah. Yeah. Space Invaders.
space. No, man, no, I can't talk to you guys during that. Like I'm concentrating.
That's big time.
Still one of the hardest games I've ever played. It was for the Atari. It was Lunar Lander. That game was so
Oh.
ridiculously difficult. You were just landing a ship on the moon, but you had to get it dead perfect with your speed and your
sounds
angle and
familiar.
everything.
I can look that up.
Yeah, I got pretty far in it, and that was back when you couldn't, because I think it
Can't
was an
save
arcade game too. Well, yeah, you couldn't save, and like if you're playing it in an arcade, you got one quarter, and then you started over. That was before you could load like $10 in and just keep going.
Yeah.
That was when they were much more challenging. But anyway, so like, subscribe, smash whatever button is a good one, and tell people about us. So before we went to break, we were talking about that kind of, I guess the word I should have been using was boundary, of
Yeah.
being a good family member and then also protecting yourself. To be honest, I'm concerned with my little sister, especially about what happens. My mom is going to pass away at some point. Statistically, that's going to happen.
It may happen. Yeah.
May not. I don't know. She has gotten her vaccines. We don't know. She might get some powers and become immortal. But at what point? So with my little sister, my concerns are about how well she'll be able to kind of be on her own. And I'm sitting here right now in Australia, and there's a chance, an opportunity, there's a possibility that I, not this time around, but like I stay here, and when I was really strongly considering that, like for the first time, that responsibility to my little sister kind of popped up, and I had to have the conversation with myself of kind of you're not responsible, like you have the right to live a life, and not have to sit there and have someone potentially living with you and have to take care of someone, but then I felt like a jerk. Like, where's the line in that, you know? Because that could potentially affect obviously my mental health, but all of my health, like for the rest of my life. Did I sign up for that? Did I ask for it? Where is that kind of line in the sand?
Yeah. I I don't know that there's a clear one, but it does. Uh, yeah. I don't know where you draw it because you've got to be able to preserve yourself and in your financial well-being to be able to just take care of yourself, let alone somebody else. Even if it's saying no to, it's hard. I don't, I mean, that line is out there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to, in my head now, I'm saying, look, I'm not gonna be responsible for that. So we need to make sure that, she's ready and able, and because I believe that she has it within her to do it. She
Mhm.
just, has to stop being spoon-fed everything.
Yeah.
But then if it's not me, is it my older sister? Is it my brother? My older sister has kids. And sometimes the environment cannot be super conducive to children, because of how some of the things my little sister has done, and how she's prone to acting, you know. And there's another kind of weird thing for me is we're all adopted, all my brothers and sisters, but my little sister's my actual little sister. She's my actual
Mm,
blood, and so she might be the only blood that I have in the world, at least that I'm aware of.
mm.
I'm We don't know who our father was, and our mother passed away like in 2006. So for somebody, are you adopted?
I'm not. No.
Okay. So like
No.
everybody in your family is blood, you know?
Hmm.
And so there's that feeling of that, there's that connection, but it's like I have one person, but like I can't be expected,
Mm,
especially if I'm going to go do this here, I can't be expected to move somebody else out, to Australia.
yeah.
That's a pretty big ask. Um
Yeah.
but I've struggled with that. I've struggled with that for a little while now. I know what
Yeah.
my answer is going to be, but that's going to affect me, and I'm going to feel like an ass. Um,
To draw that boundary is it it hurts, because even if rationally you know that you have to at some point say no and take care of yourself, it doesn't make it feel good or anything like that. It's so hard. I mean, Bob, you said something before about um, I forget the context, but you said, but they're family though, and there's some it's almost like a trump card where it's just like, insert bad behavior, but it's family. And that's
Yeah.
I grew up with that, and then at some point in my adult life I was like, yeah, no, like I wouldn't, why would
Mhm.
and I think that's why family can get away with some things, because they're family and people aren't going to say something, because there is sort of innate protectiveness for family. Even if they do something wrong, you're like, I'm always on your side. But if a family wrongs you, or if they do something, then at some point you're like, whoa, 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 hold on. Why do you get to get away with it just because you're family? So yeah, it's really hard. It's really, really hard.
I
yeah, I
think
mean, if you,
especially with, like, in my situation, my parents were getting older. So kind of like what you were just saying, Jeff, the point where I think my parents' perspective, it wasn't, oh, but it's family. My sister was doing, they were
hmm
living it because, like, she was there caring. I was there caring for them on the weekends, but it got, you know, they were, my dad was in his 80s, early 90s, and he was talking to him one time. He's like, I date with her. He's like,
hmm
she wants to
Mm,
let her have it. I don't want to. It's because you're, especially once he got, he didn't want to deal with it. So it
hmm
wasn't like, oh, it's family. It was like, I have to put my energy into just enjoying the rest of my life because I only have a short period of time left.
right.
mm,
And I like boundary because there, and I'm not going to detail, but like, she lied within the past year, and both my nieces came to me and they said, we kind of had like a little get together, and they talked, and we all talked, and we that she lied, and I showed evidence supporting
hmm
my side of it. So not just her impacting me and my daughter, she's impacting her own kids and the rest of the family because she's telling this lie. So yes, I agree. Like, I started setting this boundary of, I'm only going to communicate with her if I have to, and it's only going to be the estate. I'm not going to communicate with her about anything else. And that's
hmm
literally the way it is. Like, we do not talk about anything. She doesn't communicate with me, with her, unless it has to do with the house. And the way I look at it
hmm
right now is, once the house has closed, I mean, it's been closed, time frame on anything, but at some point settled out, and I'll see where things go.
hmm
I'm not want to get past every when there's no more issues, hopefully.
hmm
And then once the estate is settled, chat and we'll see you. Keep with that right now if it doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that, Bob? Like, how have you gotten yourself to be able to be at peace with, I mean, this was somebody you were extraordinarily close with, you grew up with. You know, they say that your siblings know you longer than anyone else, like ever.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Especially if they're older than you or whatever. But like, you know, your parents are supposed to pass away when you're, you know, middle aged, and your siblings are generally in your kind of age range. You know, so you have girlfriends and friends and wives and these people that come in and, you know, in and out of your life, but your siblings are like, you know, birth to death. You know, they're there
Mm.
the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, how do you find how did you figure it out so you could be at peace with the fact that you may no longer have a relationship with this person that you know, you grew
Well,
up with, you have deep history with?
I guess that would be, I can't say that I figured it out. When I say I'm at peace with
Mm-hmm.
it, I think from the perspective of the boundary thing, like you're a
Mm-hmm.
toxic person. You have impacted my daughter, who's my priority. And you mentioned adoption. My daughter's
Right.
adopted. So this is
Mm-hmm.
priority is protect. She is my family
Mm-hmm.
more so now than my sister is.
Yeah.
So perspective of no, I got to protect my family. And if you're the
Mm.
toxic person and you're creating problems, then I have to put you at a distance. And
Okay.
because of some of the things that she's that have created issues, I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to compartmentalize it and be like, okay, yes, if we don't ever see each other or talk to each other again, hurt. I'm not saying it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
impact me in some way at all.
Mm-hmm.
I can deal with at peace with it. I have to take care of and focus on,
Mm-hmm.
and that loves me and isn't creating issues other than typical teen.
Right. Okay. All right. I like that. That yeah, it follows, it's logical, you know, and I think that's one thing that's tough when it comes to family is being able to stick to what's logical, you know. And it's a shame because, you know, we don't pick these people, you know, but they do. They, you know, they're the
Yeah.
people that will know us longer and probably at a deeper level than many other people in our lives. So that was a killer chat today, guys. If you're supporting, if you want to support the good stuff we're doing here with Visible Man, with the podcasts, the live talks, the server, and all that stuff, you can check us out at patreon.com/visibleman and go a little. Because all that stuff costs money, so your support would be very well appreciated. Remember to check out our Discord server where anybody over the age of 18 is invited. We have moderated discussions daily about men and men's mental health. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this, remember to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Oh, so much to say. Remember to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, I think. We're still working on that MySpace, but we'll get that figured out. Did I forget anything, Jeff?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, cool. Easiest thing to do to find all of that information would be to go to visibleman.org. Once again, thank you all for listening. This is Jack Rollins from VM Live, reminding you that vulnerability is the ultimate demonstration of strength. Cheers.